Hi everyone, I'm Hannah. Welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's video. Sewing is one of my all-time favorite things to talk about. I could honestly talk for days about all of the things that I have learned over my years of sewing. But for your sake, I have instead boiled down all of my musings into my top 10 tips for beginner sewists. Let's get into it. Tip number 1, invest in the right tools. As you start building your sewing toolbox, it is so important to invest your money where it counts and save your money where it doesn't. Sewing supplies are so much fun, and when you're first starting out, it can be really tempting to go out and buy all of the bells and whistles and totally deck out your sewing workstation. But honestly, most projects can be done with just a few basic tools. And going out and buying everything, going too fast, too quickly, can waste your money, first of all, and also leave you feeling a little bit overwhelmed. So instead, I have made a list of essential sewing tools to get you going and what to consider before you buy them. The first and most obvious tool is a sewing machine. And I think that if you are going to invest your money in any one thing, this is definitely the thing to invest in. That does not mean that you need to go out and buy a top-of-the-line, brand new $500 machine right out of the gate, but I would definitely also avoid buying the really cheap machines that you'll see on places like Amazon or Temu. I know it can be tempting to save your money and just buy a $50 machine online, but sewing has a pretty sizable learning curve, and buying a cheap, finicky machine can definitely just end up leaving you feeling frustrated. So instead, what I would do is look for a good, basic base model from a trusted brand like Singer or Brother. The one that I personally recommend is the one that I have here, which is the Singer Heavy Duty, and it's definitely one of the most common beginner and even intermediate machines that you'll see out there, and it really doesn't break the bank. And if you do want a more affordable option, you can absolutely find base models like this secondhand on places like eBay or Facebook Marketplace for a lot less than a brand new machine. Now, everything else on this list is going to be a lot smaller and cheaper than a sewing machine, but they are very important nonetheless. The next thing you'll need is a good pair of fabric scissors. I personally love Fiskars for all of my cutting tools. My mom has always used them and I stand by them. You will also need a seam ripper because trust me, you will make mistakes and this little lady will become your best friend. A measuring tape and a ruler, a pack of universal sewing needles and a pack of stretch needles if you're going to be working with any stretch fabrics, pins and a pin cushion. I personally love magnetic pin cushions, or if it's more your speed, you can also opt for sewing clips. You will also need thread. My go-to brand is Gutermann. A pack of bobbins. Most new machines will come with some of these, but trust me, you will definitely need a lot more than what they come with, so I would definitely recommend picking up another pack. And lastly, an iron and an ironing board. More on that later. Then there are also a few optional tools that you can choose to get up front. They're definitely not necessary, but they are really nice to have. The first is a pair of thread snips. Of course, if you have scissors, these aren't 100% necessary, but they can be really nice for cutting threads super close to the fabric. Another technically optional but highly recommended tool is some kind of fabric marking tool, whether that be a fabric pen or tailor's chalk. I personally love these friction pens. They dissolve with heat, so as soon as you iron your project out, all of the markings will disappear. And lastly, you can choose to invest in a self-healing cutting mat. They can be a little bit pricey, but honestly, it is really, really nice to have a dedicated cutting surface that you don't have to worry about damaging as you cut out patterns and fabric. And that's really all you need to get started. And as you progress, you can choose what additional tools might be right for you, like a rotary cutter or additional sewing feet like a zipper foot or an overcast foot, a tailor's ham, curved dressmaking rulers. There's a ton of stuff out there, but I think that what I've listed out here is really all a beginner needs to start sewing some really amazing projects. Tip number 2, start with clear, easy patterns and tutorials. It is so easy to want to dive into really complex projects right at the start, but I highly recommend starting with simple patterns and tutorials that use easy to sew fabrics like cottons or linens, just to get your footing before you dive into larger projects with tricky fabrics and more complex finishes. Using basic patterns up front will give you a really strong foundational knowledge of just how clothing is constructed and what the possibilities are. And having that foundational knowledge is going to make those complex projects so much easier down the line. Now, simple and beginner friendly does not mean that you have to start with pillowcases and tote bags if that's not your thing. I know when I started, I immediately wanted to get into clothing. Thankfully, there are so many beginner friendly clothing patterns out there. I would definitely recommend looking for things like tops that either slip on or close with ties, skirts or pants with elastic or drawstring waistbands, or slip-on dresses. And then when you're ready, you can move into the world of stretch fabrics and silks and zippers and buttons and all that good stuff. And on the topic of patterns, we have tip number 3, which is to vet your patterns before buying them. There are so many sewing patterns out there, especially on marketplaces like Etsy, but trust me, not all patterns are created equally. And in this day and age, it's not just bad human-made patterns that you have to keep an eye out for, but also bad AI-made patterns. And without thoroughly vetting, you run the risk of wasting your money and your time on poorly made patterns with bad instructions. Now, if you're like me and you source printable PDF patterns online, there are a few things that you can look out for to make sure that you're buying a quality pattern. The first thing I look at are the reviews. You really want to see at least a few reviews that have specific feedback on the pattern, or even better, have pictures attached of the final product. This tells you, hey, this pattern is real and there are real people out there making it. A listing that's inundated with a ton of generic reviews like, I love this product, or it was great, is definitely a big red flag. The second thing that I look at are listing pictures. You really want to look out for real, non-AI pictures that match the pattern description. Listings with AI models or only drawings of the pattern are definitely going to be a lot less trustworthy than pictures with a real human wearing the actual finished garment. And lastly, look at the price. In general, I would steer clear of any patterns that are under about $5, because these are a lot more likely to be AI-made patterns or to come from a pattern wholesaler where they haven't really been thoroughly vetted. So all in all, live your best life, buy all the patterns you want, just make sure to put in a little bit of research before you click purchase. Tip number 4, before you even take your project to your sewing machine, take your time with the prep work. One of my fatal sewing mistakes early on was rushing through steps like measuring, cutting, and pinning, and not taking the time to ensure that my work was accurate and secure before sewing it. Especially as a beginner, it can be really easy to say, I just want to get to the fun part. I can just guess or eyeball it or hold things together as I sew, but I promise that that never, ever results in well-made projects. Trust me, there is absolutely nothing worse than getting halfway through a project and realizing your seams don't match up or your pattern pieces don't fit together properly and having to seam rip and redo a bunch of work that you've already done. And on the topic of taking your time is tip number 5. Do not underestimate the power of the humble iron. I don't think I ironed anything until 3 years into sewing. I really didn't realize why it was important or how it could substantively change my work. But once I started ironing regularly, I realized that it was the biggest game changer in leveling up my sewing from looking handmade to looking professional. I know it seems like a step that you could just easily skip, but pressing your fabric before cutting out pattern pieces and pressing your seams once they've been sewn in are so important to the overall quality of your finished garment. It's a really crucial step in making sure everything lays flat, getting rid of puckering, making sure you have crisp lines. And honestly, now that I've started doing it religiously, ironing is, unpopular opinion, kind of one of my favorite parts of sewing. So, If you haven't already, give ironing a try, and who knows, it just may become your new favorite thing. Tip number 6. Pay very close attention to your first few stitches. As a beginner, some of my biggest sewing frustrations consistently happen within my first few stitches. From nesting and jamming up to seams coming undone and my fabric getting pushed down into the feed dogs, it's all annoying, but there are a few things that you can do preemptively to avoid these issues. Number 1 is to start with your needle in the down position. It's not absolutely necessary, but I find that using the hand wheel to lower the needle to its lowest position before starting with the presser foot allows me to make sure that I'm starting in the exact right spot, and it really cuts down on how often my fabric gets pushed down into my machine's feed dogs. Number 2 is to double check how much thread is left in your bobbin. There are very few things that make me crash out more than sewing a long, beautiful line of stitching, taking it off my machine, and realizing that the bobbin ran out halfway through and none of it was real. Save yourself this heartache and just make sure to keep track of how much thread is left in your bobbin. Number 3 is to always make sure that you're holding your thread tails for your first few stitches. It's amazing to me how little people talk about this because it's so simple and so undertaught, but holding your thread tails for the first 2 or 3 stitches, just make sure that they don't get jammed up in your sewing and that they don't get pulled right out of your fabric right when you start a new line of stitching. And lastly, the final thing is to always make sure that you're back stitching, which is essentially just sewing a few stitches in reverse after your initial few forward stitches. And what this does is it essentially locks in the start and the end of each line of stitching to make sure that they don't come undone down the line. Tip number 7. Instead of buying fabric new, try out using secondhand fabrics and linens. I have gotten so much mileage out of secondhand materials. These are things like tablecloths, bed sheets, curtains, quilts, or men's button-down shirts. Not only does it save you a ton of money in the long run because fabric is expensive, but it also gives you the freedom to develop your skills and confidence without worrying about ruining any kind of really nice fancy fabrics. Now, of course, there are always going to be projects that call for things like suede or silks that can't really be easily thrifted, but for anything that calls for a basic cotton or a linen, I definitely recommend checking out the linen and tablecloth, etc. section of your thrift store. You'll be surprised at just how high quality they can really be, and honestly, it's a lot of fun to take something that's been tossed aside and give it a new life. Tip number 8. Change your needles more often than you think you need to. I would say probably 80 to 90% of the time that I am having some issue with my machine, whether it be thread nesting or jamming up, the issue is almost always a dull needle. I know this, and yet somehow I always forget to just try changing out the needle. I will do literally everything. I will rethread a million times. I'll oil and dust my machine, literally everything, before remembering that I should probably just try changing the needle. And almost every single time, that fixes it. They say a good rule of thumb is to change your needle after every 8 to 10 hours of sewing. I am personally incapable of keeping track of that, so I'll just usually remember to change out my needle every 1 or 2 projects. Tip number 9. Stop sewing when you get tired, angry, or hungry. I cannot tell you how many times I have stayed up until 2 a.m. working on a project, sleepy and frustrated, and as a result, I end up cutting corners. I wake up in the morning, I look at my shoddy work, and I think, why did I do this? I think it's really easy for sewists or crafters and makers in general to hyperfixate on a project and just keep on pushing at it until it's done. I've done it a million times, but every single time that I have kept pushing, the quality of my work suffers and I just end up feeling burned out. Like with pretty much anything, you are going to do your best work when you're well rested, you're fueled, and you're excited to be working on your project. So the next time that you start yawning, or your stomach starts grumbling, or you start feeling like throwing your sewing machine out of a window, go to bed, have a snack, go on a walk, whatever you need to do. But trust me, you will always be happy that you put the project down and came back to it later rather than pushing through and making mistakes. And my last tip number 10, is have fun. And don't be too hard on yourself. Sewing is an incredibly rewarding skill, and learning new techniques and improving over time is so empowering and exciting. But like with any new thing, sewing has a really big learning curve, and you're gonna make mistakes and have setbacks, and that's okay. It is all part of the process. As time goes on, you will start to see real growth and improvement, and all of the trials and the setbacks are so worth it on the day that you get to put on something that you made and you love, and someone compliments it, and you get to say, thanks, I made it. And that concludes my top 10 tips for beginner sewists. I really hope you found this video helpful, and if you stuck around for all 10 tips, thank you so much for being here and supporting. I post a lot of content like this, so if you're interested, I would love for you to subscribe and join the It's by Hannah family. Drop your thoughts and your questions below, and I hope to see you next time.